Hello, fans, and welcome to the Utah Hockey Club postgame show with the Two Line Podcast. Another great game in the books, and I'm Randon, and alongside my co-hosts, Dustin and Ryan, we will break down all the goals, saves, hits, and highlights. Welcome to another postgame with the Two Line Pass. Welcome in, fans, to the first ever true post-game show with the Two Line Pass podcast. I'm Randon, joined with me, Ryan. Dustin has hit the road, so safe travels, Dustin. And man, what a game. If you're just joining us, the Utah Hockey Club gets its second straight victory, this time on the road against the New York Islanders, 5-4 in overtime. Man, it was exciting. I am still hopped up on adrenaline after that game. Ryan, welcome into the first ever post game with the Two Line Pass.
I am so excited. What a game to have our first post-game podcast to. What an excitement. Crazy ending. Not how I felt it was going to go, but hey, I'll take it however we can get it. Boys were playing like they had to play rent last night, so good shit.
Lighting a fire underneath their feet, and there is a lot to talk about. And like you said, it was an exciting game, start to finish, a very dramatic ending as we look into going to overtime. We both have some pros and cons, but let's just break it down. Of course, this is the first franchise road game, and there's going to be a lot of first in the franchise, right? We're going to keep doing that because it's fun to talk about. First road game, first road win, first overtime win. I mean, there's a lot of firsts going on, but let's break it down. So it actually was the Islanders getting on the board first. Anthony Duclair scores on the power play, answered shortly thereafter by Lawson Krause towards the end of the first period, also on the power play, tying it up at 1-1. And then in the second period, the lone goal scorer, Barrett Hayton, puts Utah up 2-1. And then in the third period, this is where it starts to get wild. The Islanders score twice, take the lead 3-2. Dylan Guenther answers back on the power play 3-3. And then with like 2 minutes left in the third, the Islanders take a 4-3 lead. I thought it was over, but no, like 13 seconds later, Josh Doan scores the game-tying goal and sends it into overtime. And then in overtime, what an exciting 3-on-3 overtime it was. And our boy, Dylan Don't Take My Gunthers, puts it in for his league-leading fourth goal of the year. And Utah has their second straight win. The undefeated season is alive and well. Ryan, I just love it. I just love it.
Yeah, that was a great game. That was super exciting. The first period, I've come to realize we are the best first period team in the NHL. The Florida Panthers can be the best third period team in the NHL. I don't care. We're setting the tone in the first period every game. Maybe got to work on keeping that pressure going. We have our moments every now and then, but yeah, that was a really exciting game. I thought Kerfoot and McBain both played really, really well for being two guys who you normally don't hear their names getting mentioned too much. I felt they were both playing pretty solid out there. The top line was the most dominant line in the game for the Utah Hockey Club. Every time they're on the ice, they're getting stuff done. And then if they're not getting something done, Dylan Guenther's coming through on that second line, and he's going to get something done. And honestly, that was a great game. But yeah, I think one other improvement, I liked how we played in the neutral zone. We did really well in the neutral zone today, not letting them, because the dump and chase, it doesn't work for us. We're not a dump and chase and grind them out kind of team. We're a enter with speed, and keeping the neutral zone clear and without them having the puck really does help with our game on that. But yeah. Anything else, Brandon?
No, absolutely. And I like that you shout out Kerfoot and McBain. Kerfoot gets his first assist on the year, and they're just strong, hardworking guys that you're probably not going to see them show up too much on the stat sheet, but they are crucial pieces. Really, all four forward lines and all defensive pairings are just so crucial to the way this team operates and plays. It's just amazing. So excellent shout out from them. Obviously, Dylan Gunther playing phenomenal offensive hockey, and you're right, that first line is great. The even the second line. So Dustin isn't with us. He's actually driving on the road, but he checked in with us and he wanted to give a shout out to Logan Cooley, who, if we're talking about off the stat sheet hustle and play, man, Logan Cooley put it on display, things that you're not going to see show up on the stat sheet, but his hustle on the penalty kill and in the overtime, and just the way he hounds the opposing team and just is a nuisance and keeps them from controlling and establishing the rhythm, leads to turnovers and takeaways for Utah. Logan Cooley was just outstanding. But what we really, I think there was a few bright spots, specifically our penalty kill, I think is quite good. Obviously, they did get a power play goal, but they were 1 for 6, right? We took a lot of penalties needlessly, especially that awkward 4-minute double, but they killed off all 4 minutes. The penalty kill team was on fire. Logan Cooley was an incredible part of that 4-minute penalty kill. And then on the other side, Utah goes 2 for 2 on the power play, right? So we're a little bit undisciplined, but the penalty kill units step up. And then we took advantage of our opportunities, few as they were, and put the puck in the back of the net. So special teams for me was an incredible bright spot. What did the special teams show to you?
I thought everybody looked really good on the special teams. Even Ingram, he was our best penalty killer. Other than, I mean, Kraus, yeah, or not Kraus. I'm sorry, Cooley. He's a nuisance out there, and he does the work towards the top of the zone where their defensemen are. He's not letting them get past the blue line very much. But then Connor Ingram, bunch of big saves out there tonight, and really only one goal I think I could really blame Ingram for. I think it was the third goal I want to blame Sergachev, because he just follows his man around the net for no reason when his man wasn't even going around the net. His man stopped. Like, I don't know what that was. But yeah, the special teams looked really, really good tonight. I didn't agree with the 4 minutes. If you want to call a 2-minute high stick, fine. I didn't see any blood. So unless Anders Lee was bleeding from his vagina, I don't know where they're getting the blood from. So there's that. But other than that, yeah, we all played really, really well. In overtime, the forwards really took over, and Dylan Gunther just showed his intelligence on both ends of it, because he came up with a few good stick checks and poke checks in the defensive zone, and then Clayton Keller being an absolute dog out there every time the puck was in their zone. He was right there to get it. Be like, nope, that's mine. I'm going to give it to Schmaltz. Schmaltz, you do your thing. So, but yeah, the special teams look good. Sergachev, I don't know if you think it's his leg injury. Maybe not still that he's hurt, but the mental aspect of like, am I 100%? Like, yeah, dog, that's why we brought you over here. Stop making dumb plays. You're better than that, Sergachev. I believe in you, but you pissed me off tonight, bud.
He may want to just be an offensive defenseman. And it's funny because there's two. So this is the second time in a row. And what's that phrase, if I had $1 for every time Barrett Hayton stole a goal from Sergachev, I'd have $2, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice, because in both games, Sergachev is initially credited with the goal, but then it turns out that Barrett Hayton tipped it in. And so first, I would like to apologize to Barrett Hayton, because in the preseason or before the preseason, in the offseason, I kind of had my questions. Is Barrett Hayton ready for the first line center responsibilities for a full 82 games? And through 2, he looks incredible. He's that big body in front of the net, and he's tipping in pucks, getting the goals, and just creating opportunities for the rest of his players. So very excited for him. And you mentioned you mentioned Connor Ingram, and I think we have an early candidate for goal or save of the year, which actually came off of a very awkward bounce. It was not like a setup was not there, and it was an awkward bounce out of the corner. and Ingram had to come around the goal and make a diving save. It was incredible. We posted the highlight up on Twitter. It's already out there, and on NHL.com. It's just great save. But he made save after save after save. Again, this is what Connor Ingram is going to do. Connor Ingram is going to give you every opportunity to stay and win a game. And Utah's offense, which has no problems, they set a stat. So it's one of the 9 goals through 2 games is the most for an inaugural season in like 40 years or something like that. We knew that, right? We talked about it in the offseason that goals for was never a problem for this team. It was the goals against disproportionately outweighing the goals for, and that goal differential is really what cost the former team those wins. And now, obviously, it's small sample size, but we're starting to get that production. And making sure that we always score more than the opponent, which I don't know if anybody knows this, but that is the key to winning. If you score more goals than the other team, you will win 100% of the time. That's just the facts of the matter, right? That's the hard-hitting analysis that you're going to get at the Two Line Podcast. But one thing I would like to, so there's a few, pump the brakes. 82-0 is a long way away, and I got to see some better play in the defensive zone. It seems like a lot of times we struggle to get the puck out of the defensive zone back in through the neutral zone. And when we do, we're very fast and we can, but a lot of times we struggle and a lot of unforced errors. Here's the context. So Utah forced 11 takeaways. New York only had 2 takeaways. All right, so Utah's forcing those turnovers. Utah gave the puck away, though, 20 times. Right? So New York only took the puck away from us 2 times, but we gave it away 20. So we are being a lot of unforced errors still occurring, and that's probably early season. A lot of energy, a lot of you got to settle into the game, but we got to clean those up. Can't be giving away that many pucks and expect to win every game, which is now the expectation. Every game is a win.
So what I had to say for that is I think with revamping the entire defensive core, bringing in 4 new defensemen, because Moreno, when he finally comes off injury, he's going to come right back into it. And now we got another giant defenseman. But I think just getting them all on the same page and learning that it's going to take a minute. It might take, I don't know, I think the average is give them 15 games to see what they have, and if they can't figure it out in 15 games, maybe look to start making some changes. But I think they've gotten better with each game, at least defensively. Like, it seems like they're playing better each game. They might have gave up more goals in this game, but that's because the Islanders are a much, much better team than the Chicago Blackhawks. Like, the Islanders are a legitimate hockey team. Are they a Stanley Cup contender? No, but they're a playoff team and they're good. But yeah, the 20 giveaways is a lot. But going back to that 11 forced takeaways by us, we have just been attacking the puck every period we can. Those giveaways, I think, are part of that, where we're forcing the turnovers and then trying to get the puck to our guys and get it out so quick and so fast that, yeah, we're just kind of turning the puck over and overskating each other, missing the passes here and there, which is probably going to happen a lot when you're a team built on speed. But I wouldn't say this was a regression by any means of a game. Sure, we let in more goals, but it's because we played a better team. That was the only difference. I feel like, yeah, it was good. But the defense, like Sergachev, I think, hopefully he'll watch some game footage today. And I had no problems with him in game 1. I thought he played phenomenal. And even tonight, I really don't think he played a bad game. I just think he made a couple bad plays, which led to some pretty shitty circumstances and some shitty opportunities. Is that entirely his fault? No, there's 4 other guys on the ice. But he's a big part of those 5 guys on the ice. So, but yeah, other than that, I like the defense. I like the game itself. Ingram does what he does every game. He's gonna and the better the defense gets, the less of those saves he's gonna have to make. And so, I think yeah, he's an explosive goalie who's kind of everywhere and making flashy stuff and saving pucks he has no business. But once the defense really gets the system down, I don't think we'll rely on him to bail us out every single game. But it will be nice to have him back there to bail us out of every single game.
Yeah, and once once those defensemen settle in, we've got a lot of offensive players who are also defensive minded. Obviously, Logan Cooley came back, but there was a lot of opportunities for a lot of players, and Clayton Keller played really well on both sides of the ice. Sergachev, for his kind of lackluster play on the defensive zone, he gets 2 assists, and he literally broke Clayton Keller's stick with his slap shot. His slap shot was so hard, it literally snapped Clayton Keller's stick, which I thought was a pretty cool moment. But yeah, the effort was off the charts. Clayton Keller makes this ridiculous diving play on the puck to keep it in the offensive zone to set up a goal. I mean, it was just the play was just outstanding. We won the face-off battle, not by a lot, but 52-48 essentially. So a lot of positivity, a lot of positive things to take away. There was not a lot of hits out of Utah. Obviously, Ian Cole laid the hit, but then got penalized for it after he high-sticked a guy, which I do want to kind of talk about because it's like that. I guarantee you nobody saw that.
There's no,
high stick.
No.
I guarantee. They said
no. They're as you said in the group chat, they're calling the reaction by the players on the bench, and like there was sure you got hit in the face, dude, but like, did you really? Like, you're both going to, like, I don't know. I've always felt kind of like, oh, I control the stick. You do it. You go do it. Like, I don't know. Off the face-off high stick like that when they're both going down and falling to the ice. How is that a high stick? They're both going down. I could just stick behind. You know what I mean? Like, and where was the second penalty for? Where was the blood?
I didn't see any blood. I saw a scrape. You could visually see a scrape from his nose, but who knew when that happened?
Yeah.
There could have happened at any time.
I thought it was a scar.
It was one of those.
Or a shadow.
Exactly. It was one of those, you look at the replay and you're like, oh yeah, that's a pretty obvious high stick, but it does have to be called. It doesn't matter that it was obvious. It has to be called. And the linesman who dropped the puck was not looking at it. The replay clearly showed that he wasn't looking at it. So you're telling me that both of the referees, the head officials missed it, but somehow that fourth linesman was in position to see it? No. They saw the reaction. The player came and kind of did his little whine, and then they got together and they were saved on replay being like, yeah, but it was pretty obvious. It wasn't, though, because you got to see it to call it, and that's just the way
Say
it
it's
is.
obvious in slow motion on a replay. Of course it's obvious then. You're slowing it down by like, you know what I mean? In the nobody saw. I thought he punched him. Like, when they were both, I thought Cole just out-muscled him and he was trying to be a crybaby. I was furious at home. And then when I saw the replay, I was like, oh, okay, maybe he did get hit with a stick. But he still dove. I don't know. Anders Lee, you're better than that. You know you're better than that. Weak call.
In the end, it didn't matter, though. And for those of you unfamiliar with the rules of hockey, so you got to see them. This was displayed on the preseason to kind of get new fans familiar with it. It happened every Utah game. I don't know if it happened league wide, but they always had a little exhibition shootout and stuff, and sometimes they had an exhibition overtime, regardless of the outcome of regulation. But in the NHL, in the regular season, it's 3-on-3 for 5 minutes, and then if there's no goal during that 5-minute 3-on-3 overtime, then it's a penalty shootout. So that's the way that the overtime is going. The overtime rules are in the regular season. Come the playoff time, it's a full 20-minute period, 5-on-5 until somebody scores. You go as many periods as you want, right? So obviously you maybe heard on the broadcast, or maybe you're new to it, but like most ties, you do get 1 point for the overtime loss or the shootout loss, right? But we're taking home the 2. So we are currently in first place in the Central and in the West, top of the charts. And Ryan, before we look ahead to Saturday's game, any other takeaways or anything you want to talk about this game?
Yeah, this really has nothing to do with the game, but he did score a goal. This is just a fun little fact I noticed about one of our young and brightest stars, Josh Doan. Young Josh Doan got a goal there. Beautiful goal to tie the game with a minute or two left, 2 minutes left, something like that. Got everybody fired up. And I don't know if you could tell, but that Long Island crowd shut up immediately. Immediately, that place died.
Yep.
But I noticed he wears number 91. Probably not a big deal to most people out there. They're probably thinking, oh yeah, 91. He probably wants to be like Gretzky, whatever. No. His father, Shane Doan, Coyotes legend, and if he's not already had his number retired by the franchise, I'm pretty sure it should be. His dad wore number 19 for the Coyotes. So he flipped it to wear 91 like his. So I just noticed that today. I thought that was a kind of little fun fact. Point that out for the fans out there. And shout out to Shane Doan and his kid.
Yeah, that goal was electric, and you're absolutely right. There's very few things that are as deflating as when you're still celebrating. They haven't even announced your goal over the PA system, and the other team scores. There are very few things as deflating as that. And to come at that moment, yeah. So good job, Josh Doan, and he's just the showcase of the young, bright talent that has been assembled here, along with Dylan Gunther. Obviously, Logan Cooley still very young, and then when you bring in those veteran pieces like Sergachev, like Cole, and you build not just through the draft, right? Which is what the previous team had tried to do. Is you can't land a big free agent signing. When you do, it kind of blows up in your face. Utah has positioned themselves to be competitive, not just this year, but for multiple years to come, because of their ability to both build and develop and gather and trade for existing talent, which is what you have to do. You cannot solely rely on the draft. Otherwise, you will be a bad team for a very long time. So bright spots for Utah, and Josh Doan is among them. Our boy Dylan Gunther, give him the Hart Trophy MVP chance going all night. Ryan, what a game. And now we move on, stay on the East Coast to Madison Square Garden, a legend type venue to play the New York Rangers. I'm excited for that game. If Liam O'Brien plays, I hope he doesn't try to fight Rempe, but he may, who knows, and he'll probably lose because most people do. But it's going to be exciting to watch that game on Saturday, and we'll be with you for another post game. It's going to be a fun one. Ryan, what do you got for us?
One thing to add to that, I don't think O'Brien needs to play to fight Rempe in New York, but he needs to play because they have a guy named Jacob. I'm going to elbow you, your best player in the fucking head and give him a concussion, Trouba, on their team. So to keep guys like him in line, you got to get the big burly ginger in there. So, Rempe's not a problem. All he knows how to do is fight. Trouba can at least sometimes play defense. But yeah, I think O'Brien plays tomorrow. I think that'll be our first real test of the season, or Saturday, whatever the game is. And Shesterkin, I refuse to give the Rangers fans the dignity or the credibility by saying he's good. We're going to score 5 on him like we've done to every other goaltender this year. We're coming in, and it's going to be bad, Igor. Better buckle up.
He's currently into contract dispute too. He obviously still has a year left, but
trade him to San Jose.
He did not want to sign. So maybe that plays a factor. He is one of the best goalies in the league when he is on, and he will be, obviously, of the 3 games we've played, will be the toughest goalie test that we have faced so far. But the Islanders are a much better team than Chicago, and we handled them. And so we're going to see how we handle the New York Rangers. I did, in our preview show, I did note that I had that down for a loss, but I will be more than happy to eat my words and go 3-0 through 3 games. But we'll find out then, and we'll be with you Saturday night after the game at Madison Square Garden. Guys, thanks so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the game. I hope you enjoyed the episode, or the first ever post-game episode of the Two Line Podcast. And we're 2-0, baby. We're going all the way. We're winning the cup. Undefeated season. It's a special time, Utah fans, a special time, and I hope you join us again soon. Everybody, have a good night and get home safely. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Two Line Pass podcast. Please follow us on Twitter at the Two Line Pass. You can follow Dustin at HighlightsUt. You can follow Randon at TLP Randon and Ryan at CarnsRyan0420. During the off-season, new episodes of the podcast drop every Wednesday with bonus episodes throughout. And during the season, we will have our weekly show plus game day episodes so you don't miss a minute of the action.